Okay, this is the daily overpass number 5 for the 9th of January 2017. Okay, so I'm going to share something with you, which I'm a little bit embarrassed about, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. Yeah, I know you guys like it when I talk about the things that are actually embarrassing to me. Just in the last week, we've had 2 people complain about things they found offensive in 2 of our apps. I mentioned that the other day. I talked about I would tell you about one of these, and then another one came up, since then. So the first one, well, let me show you this first. So I got an email about a week ago from somebody saying, the fact that we use the rising sun flag from Japan in our Korean flash quiz game is insulting and inappropriate. Right? And I wasn't quite sure what they were talking about. They sent a link, and so I was reading up all about it, and I had a look at what they were talking about, and we have this background on our Korean flash quiz game. Now I think we've had well over 700 reviews. Nobody's ever mentioned this, so it was a bit of a surprise. It's been out a couple years. But I looked at it, and and I thought, well, it's not really the rising sun, and my designer says that's definitely not what I was intending. But this was the kind of thing that comes out like, there's certain things that you should fight for, and there's certain things that you shouldn't. So this was something that came out that one person found offensive, and I've been on the fence about whether or not I should actually change it or not. I think it probably will, just because Sandy's, she's on the team, so we can make a quick change. It's the kind of thing that just sort of came up, and it'll be interesting to see what you guys think, if you guys have had any situations like this. So that's what I was talking about last week when I said I had an app that might be considered a little bit racist. And then on Friday, Maribel, who's on our team, she writes a lot of the articles. She writes most of the articles, and she on our blog, and she also checks all the reviews. So she'll respond to all reviews, because there's just so many, and I could spend entire day. We have the hundreds of apps, so I could spend forever looking at reviews all day. And she just sent me a message on Slack on Friday saying, "Is it okay if I answer the guy who's asking why we have a KKK flag on our app?" And I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And then I stopped. I said, wait a second, we have a KKK flag on one of our apps? And she said, yes, it's on Tagalog Bubble Bath. Right? So I know that app, so I went to it and I had a look, and this is what I saw. Wow, we have a KKK flag on our app. Right? I had no idea. I'm the one who uploaded this. It's just a feature image. It's not within the app, so I didn't see it when we're putting everything together. But when we did the feature image for Google Play, we just uploaded it. And there it is. So I asked about it. I said, why? How did we get that on there? And she told me it doesn't stand for Ku Klux Klan. It's it's a Filipino thing. It stands for I'm going to put it on the screen, but let me try this. Katastan Kangalanglang Katipunan, which is the Revolutionary Society in the Philippines during the Spanish era. But it was kind of a surprise to me. So the guy who left the review, we responded to the review, and we respond to all reviews. Sometimes people will change a 1-star review to a 3-star or a 5-star review, because we'll explain ourselves. So this is one where we explain what that actually stands for. Maribel did, and he came back saying, okay, yeah, I understand that, thank you very much, but you might want to change it. So it's the kind of thing where I probably will change that. That is, I can see why that would be offensive. I mean, when had I noticed it to begin with, I wouldn't have put it on there. There's certain things. I'm American, so there's certain things you just don't do. So that's the kind of thing that sort of ended up in our app, and it was just different cultures. This is one thing where when we outsource and everything like that, different cultures see different things, and other things are not. And where this is offensive in our largest market, it's not offensive in the place where the culture that we're trying to do. So anyway, we'll probably change this within the next few days, or at least remove this one feature image, because it's just, luckily it's not within the app, it's actually isolated, so it's just a case of going in there and removing it. Now, this isn't the first time I've been offensive in an app. I know I've talked about this in a video before. Gabor just said recently in a comment that I should when I talk about previous videos, I should say which video it was, and I just can't remember. But we did one called Chemical Alley a few years ago, and it was we were trying to think of a chemistry game, and we're trying to think of names, and I can remember sitting there trying to come up with different names, chemical burn, chemical this, chemical that, and then my wife said, too bad you can't call it Chemical Alley, because we're thinking about, the guy in Iraq who, was saying, there is no invading army and they're running behind him. And I thought, well, you know, and then that came back up again. I said, well, we make it Allie, and we get like her name is Allison. It could be a strong female character and everything. And we went with it, and and I didn't even do any research. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, it was terrible. So we went all through that. I hired a comic book artist and everything, and we did this app. And it went live, and you know, and a lot of people downloaded. Nobody really said anything except one guy. The first review we had on iTunes, somebody said, this is you ought to be ashamed of yourself. This is ridiculous. You know, do you know what he did, all the lives and everything? And then I did some research. So you know, we all make mistakes. So we did. I went through and we changed the name. So now it's no longer called Chemical Alley. It's called Chemistry Alley. And I don't, you know, it just sort of went off in one direction. This is what happens if you don't run things by people sometimes. So yeah, you know, I'm telling you this, and at the same time, you know, you might be thinking, Eric, how could you not have known that? But you know, sometimes you do. You put things out there, and people are offended, and certain things. Okay, so my big app called Ear Spy it's not mainstream. I mean, I don't think you should please everybody, right? So my big app, you know, we capitalize on the creepiness of it. There's a warning on there, say warning, eavesdropping could result in hurt feelings and all that kind of stuff. And it borders on the, you know, it could be a little bit, it's not distasteful. At least I don't think it's distasteful, but it's not the kind of thing where we're trying to please everybody. But it's at the same time, there's no reason to offend anybody either. So if we find something, if somebody points out something offensive to us, unless it's a huge deal to change it, and this kind of stuff we could just go ahead and change. So anyway, I talked a few days ago, I was going to tell you what this was. This is the one that we're talking about. It was the Rising Sun one, which will probably change here in the next few days. Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see if any of you had a similar experience, something that you put out there and somebody may have complained about, and then you had to make a change, and so that's it. So that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.